What's up, everybody? Neville from Copywriting Course here with my good friend Mike Feldstein, an entrepreneur that's like that. Your clips last time did really, really well.
We had the top spot for a little bit, man.
You did. You got usurped. But I've been watching too much Game of Thrones. I said usurped. But you might make it back because what we're going to do is talk today about a bunch of business ideas. So we're going to bounce business ideas. Anytime we talk offline, you're talking about all these business ideas you have. And the unique thing about you is you do a lot of offline business ideas, what people call like boring businesses, unsexy businesses. You want to give a quick rundown of like who you are, how you got here, your little quick story?
Yeah. So I was just like always into business.
Mm-hmm.
I started with cell phone repairs, dropped out of school. That turned into online marketing. Then that turned into a very long run of floods, fires, mold removal, disaster chasing, which seems like a kind of a weird path. But like once I learned how to do marketing, it was like doing business in the place of greatest need is the most leverage possible. So naturally, if you knew how to get clicks on the internet and you knew how to find fires and floods and hurricanes and earthquakes, and then I didn't know I'd be good at it, but actually like learning how to fix homes and hiring a lot of people quickly came quite naturally to me. And then, yeah, saw how bad air quality was, ended up getting into creating Jasper, an air purifier company. And now I'm very much solopreneur life. So this is the fun, not solopreneur life, one business life. I am not, these shiny objects are no longer shiny. They're awesome ideas. And these are all very clearly ideas that I will never do. So this is a fun outlet for me to like talk about these ideas.
You do live a pretty good solopreneur life. I went to your house the other day.
Jasper house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even your real house is like pretty sweet house. And then like we rode in your electric golf cart, blasting some reggae music, and rode over to your Jasper house, where it's like your office. You got a good little setup going on.
No, I think Jasper house is actually something that I would like to talk about because, and then we'll get into the ideas. But I just think it's sweet, man, to have a house has an office. I think, did you mention you know some other folks doing this too?
I know a couple of people that have had houses as an office. I've actually worked in houses as an office with like co-working spaces, like a place will buy a house. Oh yeah, Cody Sanchez has an office. I won't say where, but they have like a cool house and they record. They have a podcast studio and stuff over there.
I just feel like the value is so good when like for $5,000 you get a crappy office, no windows, no doors, like no thank you. And for like $5-ish grand, you can get a sweet house near like, especially in a lot of cities, it's like way more comfortable. You have a deck, backyards, pools, patios, especially here in Texas where things aren't that restricted and there's not too many rules. It's like fairly easy. Like you probably couldn't have 20 employees there, but like a 5-6 person team, hosting events, doing podcasting, that kind of stuff. Like we'll see how Jasper House ends up, what it becomes. But right now it's kind of like bachelor pad / office.
Yeah. It's kind of a little escape. I have mixed feelings on it. I love WeWork. I'm a huge fan.
You're a big WeWorker.
I haven't had a WeWork membership in about 3 years or so, but for about 7 or 8 years before that, I've had WeWork memberships all over the place, and it is great. I love the shared desk space is my absolute favorite. I don't like having my own little office because then I feel like I had one before, and I was like in a little glass cube.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm paying to go.
Especially the non-window ones.
Yeah, and they echo like crazy, and I'm like, I'm paying to go in a glass cube. I mean, if you have a couple of coworkers, I get it.
Price of a condo, though.
They are expensive, but it's month to month. You don't like it, you get out. Still a good business model. WeWork gets slammed for a lot of things, I guess, because of the owners a little bit
seem to be growing more locations all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever they were doing, they put out a damn good product. So that's all I can say from experience. Well, okay, so I want to go through. We got a ton of business ideas that you wrote down. And I want to go through all of them. I want to go through them in a way. I'm going to tell a quick story about why. I once had dinner with Peter Theil. Ignore why.
Oh yeah.
Just a small group of people, and we got to just ask him questions for like 4 hours straight, and it was sick. And here's the thing: you ask him, you just be like, "What's your thoughts on China or whatever?" and he would, because like you're there to like see him, right? He knows that, so you're there to hear his thoughts. And so every time you say like, what's the deal with what do you think about China? Instead of just saying like, I hate China or I love China, China's the best, he never had a solid opinion. But here's what he did: he always had 3 different scenarios. He go, okay, best case scenario, what he thought. Middle case, like boring scenario of kind of like what would actually happen, like the best case and worst case usually rarely happens. And then he goes worst case. And then what he does is backs up each of those 1, 2, 3 scenarios with evidence that he has off the top of his head. And he has quite an impressive knowledge of history and stuff already. And then if someone brings up something like, oh, did you actually hear that now? Blah, 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 blah. He'll go, oh, in that case, update.
Yeah.
He'll update his opinion live on the spot. And I thought, like, what a great way of thinking, especially as a guy who's an investor. He doesn't care, like, if something is considered good, bad, whatever. He's just like, this is the world, and this is how it is. And this is likely how I think it will go down.
I think I do that kind of probably not as structured, and I don't have the repository, but definitely like thinking in ranges versus absolutes and being able to like hold space for both sides and argue both sides is like, it's the best.
Because you see on Twitter, someone's like, you have like a tree business or something here. People on business will be like, start a tree business. It'll make you this much money. Done. You're just like, really? There's no downsides to this?
Yeah.
There's no downsides at all to starting a physical tree business?
Yeah.
And so I think what would be cool is like go pros and cons over each one. And I think you have a lot of range in this area. So dude,
I also like just like general disclaimers on stuff. Like if I'm vouching for a person and as long as I've known them, they've been awesome. They've been great. Just that like footnote of like, great guy, PS, only known them for 1 year.
Yeah.
Like adding that like additional context to the vouch, to the recommendation to like let someone decide. Otherwise, like people like vouch for others. It's like, great guy, known him for 6 weeks.
Dude, I did that with you. I did that with a lot of people because when you moved to town, someone was like, yeah, do you know this guy? I was like, I mean, I've hung out with him several times. He's pretty cool. Like I've personally had no bad experience with him.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it, man.
Yeah. Put that little disclaimer in there.
Disclaimer. How many reps? How many years are we talking? Like, if you've known someone for 18 years, you could be like, I've seen their highs, I've seen their low, I know their aunts and uncles. Like, my vouch should carry more weight because of how long we've known each other versus like just like that absolute tree business on Twitter situation. Like, coloring it in with more depth, I think, is worth the extra minute. So is that what we're gonna do?
Hell yeah. So let's get started with this. I'm gonna just like toss you a thing. Let me know your thoughts on each.
So I don't need this, do I?
Pros and cons.
Like
you've
hold this feather though.
It is kind of a cool little feather pen. Let's go. So tree business. You've mentioned this multiple times. What's your idea there?
We might have even touched that on a little bit last time we were chatting here. So tree business can go a few ways, and there's already existing tree businesses. So, and if you look up like tree service or tree planter, it's kind of confusing because like landscapers would plant tree, and then there's like arborists who mostly will like cut down damaged leaves and cut down trees if you're building a house. But most of them will also plant trees. Here in Austin, and I think this applies to other places, what I would like to do in the tree business space, a couple things. Number one, tree privacy. So like fences, very expensive. I think you know a thing or two about fence prices. I've heard you about
lament about fences. Yes.
adult things. I just think plants make way better fences. So I think number one, for privacy. So there's actually a company in Austin called like Bamboo Your Privacy.
Bamboo Your Privacy.
You
I was about to say that. Yeah. Did I send them to you?
No, you didn't.
Yeah. I love that idea because it's just like, it's basically they just plant bamboo, but for privacy, which is like,
they're just for privacy. The bamboo's way up in price.
I know.
Privacy bamboo.
It really does. And it's kind of funny because when I was thinking about the bamboo, I have a house where like I had a bunch of bamboo and it all died in a freeze and it exposed everything. And I was just like, oh yeah, I want bamboo for privacy. That's the point. So I like that angle on it.
So I think there's the privacy angle for sure. But that company, I went to go see them. It's like middle of nowhere, like kind of east. And then you get there and they're like, here's our bamboo. We kind of know a guy named Tom, or you kind of sort of have to find your guy. And like, sometimes you want to just cover, one level of the vertical chain. And sometimes it makes sense to turnkey the whole service because the real money is in the turnkey-ness, like in making the whole thing happen. Like, I think would be much better for their business to charge a small fee to come out and give you a privacy consultation.
Oh, so you mean like they have bamboo, but you have to get someone to install it?
Yeah. Oh. You have to pick up your own bamboo. You got to get a bamboo guy. They don't like come to your house and give you a privacy quote.
Oh.
Kind of sucked. So I went there, I saw the nice bamboo. Then they had a guy who I could text. I text him minimal English and or you have to find your own guy, which also then you need your own irrigation guy. So I did this. I got a guy who's not a bamboo expert. He was a jack of all trades when it comes to bamboo. He knew a little bit about plants, a little bit about irrigation. My bamboo lasted like 3 weeks. He didn't give it nearly enough water, so I was out like $1,500, and all the bamboo was dead. He's like, "Nah, it's still alive. It'll come back next year." But next year, I can't find this guy anymore. So I think it would be well worth it for them to come by, give you a quote, potentially look at some other privacy plants as well for like thickness and some shrubbery, and then turnkey it. It's very easy. With a lot of these businesses, the cool thing is, like, there's a lot of guys who will dig holes for money. There's a lot of guys who will irrigate, set up irrigation for money. So like a landscape contractor can just be a landscape sales guy. There's just like a builder. He doesn't have to be the plumber or the electrical guy, etc. With something like Bamboo Your Privacy, because you charge way more than the nursery, the guy who sells the trees, the like tree planter, hole digger, I guess that's the tree planter, or the irrigation guy, by packaging that up as Bamboo Your Privacy, you get to charge a significant premium, and then it's very cost effective. You have really good relationships when you work with people consistently to come and turnkey the delivery of the plant, the irrigation, etc. And usually I found that you can find, if there's a certain one of your subs who's like the most capable. When I used to sell generators, I got my electrician to go quote the job for me. But once he quoted, I'm like, while you're there, get all the customers' info, tell them all about generators, then I'll send them a quote. So like he was also my sales guy. I didn't have to do much. Generators are the same. Like don't be the electrician who can get you a generator and be like, call your gas guy. Like, be the generator guy. So if you own the thing, be the sauna company, not the carpenter. And when you're the guy who delivers the final product and the solution, all those subs, there's a huge amount of margin has the turnkey guy.
Huh. Interesting.
So that will apply to a lot of this.
Well, I think what I like about this, I bet like that Bamboo Your Privacy place, they probably started off as a nursery, decided like bamboo is a profitable thing for us. But now they've got like several years of inventory, like they have to grow bamboo and stuff like that. Your idea is like, you can start tomorrow, get a contract and be the bamboo guy and just buy it from a nursery. Like I bought a bunch of bamboo online, just showed up at my door. And you don't need to grow bamboo.
No, and there's so many places like in my neighborhood, there's just fields of bamboo. And you can just go to the guy who owns it, be like, because there's so much maintenance required in bamboo. The amount of people, if you're like, hey, I'll clear your bamboo for free.
Oh, they'll pay you for it.
They'll pay you to take it away. So when you want your bamboo, just find someone who has way too much wild clumping or running bamboo, and they'll pay you to take their bamboo, and then you go and sell it. So most of these ideas, what's fun about almost all of them is they're all pretty close to no dollars or minimal dollars to start.
Well, I think that's what resonated with your podcast last time when you talked about being a builder in like these flooded areas. People think like, well, I have to have a company that does this. It's just like, no, you hire a bunch of landscapers who are also capable of doing other type of work and have them do the work and then buy the materials. You could literally do this in day one, which is
day one. Like, same with swimming pools. Like you don't have to be the hole digger or the whatever. You could be the pool company. You don't have to build pools. You don't have to like cast whatever.
Yeah.
Just you could be the pool guy. Also, a lot of these businesses have a service and maintenance element to them as well.
There's a company here in town called Texas Tiny Pools, and I follow them on Instagram. And they basically make I guess it's called a plunge pool, where it's not like a little tiny cowboy pool, not one of those like 10-foot diameter things, but pools that are like 10 feet wide by 20 feet long. So it is a pool, but it's not like a big ass lap.
It's like
pool.
roughly the size I got at the Jasper House.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like a smaller pool, and that's all they do. And at Texas Tiny Pools, and like I said, they're the same thing where they just have a bunch of contractors. There's the guy that rips your fence out. There's the guy that brings the cat and
they're not the
hole.
Pool factory.
Yeah, and then they buy they either buy or spray a pool, so you can get a prefab concrete one. And then the thing that attracted me to them versus all the other pool builders, you know what they do? They cover your pool. So if you have a tiny pool, first of all, that probably means you're relatively constrained on space. You don't have the biggest backyard in the world with all the space in the world. And so what they do is they build a deck on top of your pool on rails.
Nice.
It's sick because then whenever you do, like I have a giant cottonwood tree and it rains down like crazy leaves. And I'm like, man, if I have a pool, this is going to get all inside.
Yes.
I need a cover, but I don't want some jank ass little cover. I want a deck over it. So then I can actually enjoy that part of the yard.
You still have your deck.
Yeah, exactly. And then then the cool thing is whenever you move it back, there's now a pool with a deck on it with like umbrellas and chairs and stuff like that. And so they did that. They're just like, that's like their little flair. And it's actually not that hard to build, some rails and wood.
No, easy. So the tree privacy, and then the other side of the tree thing would be specific to areas with large, old, mature, valuable trees is tree beautification. So there's companies who will like, and even on that note, even just like a company that will just make your backyard vibier, like set up the string lights.
It's a great way to put it.
Just like vibe as a service, like
Vibe as a service.
you know, like set up. Like it's actually quite difficult. I want to put a sail shade in my backyard and some string lights. Like this is not that easy to find someone. Like all the restaurants and patios have like the sweet sail shades and the lights. Materials are cheap, the labor is cheap, but the experience is awesome. So being able to like limb up a tree, there's a company called Austin Tree Weavers. They basically build tree houses out of ropes. So like there's so many cool things you can do to enhance the experience. So just being like chief vibe officer and being able to come to your house and be like, ooh, sail shade there, limb up this tree, cool tree house.
You had a cool idea on how to approach this, that you go take pictures of everyone's house and have AI just do it. So it'd be like, make this vibier.
And the curb appeal, homes get a massive lift by increasing curb appeal. There's almost no better way to improve curb appeal than like planting a few plants, cleaning up a tree or two. Like you can go from like this ragged, dilapidated forest to like this beautiful oak tree that's like the feature of the listing of your $4 million house by spending $600 cleaning up that tree. But like you need a guy to limb it up, you need like the arborist, then you need the lighting guy, all these things. No one just be like, we'll just come and make your trees really nice.
But so how do you market this? Is this like you go around the Zilker neighborhood where people have money,
Rolling Woods, Zilker,
and you just like you're door to door, or you're going like, hey, check out the vibe that we make. Like
I'd probably have like a sweet postcard just showing like a few before and afters, and I'd probably go door to door at first, learn how to sell this thing, learn how to price this thing, figure out what my costs are. I don't think you'd have to do much more than that, but it'd be like a super easy. If you want to run Instagram ads, it's perfect. Everybody loves that stuff. So I think when you have a unique offering that you know people want, that's like small in scale. From all my experience doing this stuff, like customer acquisition is literally
cool. So that's the cool thing. Tree beautification. Try downsides. What do you think are the downsides of this? Where are the pitfalls you see for a business like this?
Downsides are location dependent. So you need to be in an area that has big, nice, magical trees.
People
on
don't
properties.
mind spending $25K on vibing up their front yard.
5-6.
Okay, not bad.
Winter would be bad for business. So it'd be a seasonal business because those big, nice trees often don't look very good in the winter. And like evergreens, it won't work for evergreens. Like pine trees and stuff, it's not going to work. Cedar trees, it's not going to work. So, so it's very seasonal. That's bad. Location dependent. That's bad. I don't think it would be necessarily hard to scale. It depends if that's important. But I do think it's one of those businesses that's kind of nice if it's small. So if you do want to build something that is scaled, it's not like a well-known business where you could just like hire a vibe expert.
Yeah.
Anyone that you hire for sales or for like each role is it's gonna be pretty hands-on to put the pieces together. There'll be quite a bit of coordination, and then just convincing people that you should spend $5-6 grand to make your tree nice. Scale mostly. This is the kind of business that's like a beautiful, wonderful $500,000 business that one person owns and has like one employee and 2 subcontractors, and it's good. If the goal, like I think it's so important that the aspirations of the goal really meet the aspirations of the person. And like if you want like a lifestyle business without doing some online internet thing and you want to be out in the wild, it's great. But like you also have to be there.
You know one thing. So I was thinking about this. Having realtors help out with it, like increasing the curb appeal whenever a realtor takes over, spending $5 grand to have like a dope front, like when someone sees that, like, holy crap, that has that wow factor, they're far more likely to spend 1.5 million on this house than if they're just kind of like, meh, whatever. The downside is with the lighting stuff, I bet a lot of the pop comes at night, and most people are scouting out homes in the day, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because I walk around my neighborhood and see some of these new houses, and they look awesome at night. I mean, they look cool in the daytime, but they look awesome at night.
You need the swing chair. You gotta know how to layer it up. Maybe a little. In my neighborhood, it's remarkable. Like people have they put the pizza oven in the front yard. Like the whole concept. At Jasper House, same deal. This guy who did the renova before me, he made the front yard the backyard. So by like fencing it in, the pool's in the front yard. But like so, if you can make your front yard, awesome. And you can make it private if you choose to. I think there's a lot of juice to be squeezed there.
Okay, so what about this? Let's keep going on to different things. Snowshoe tours. Why do you think that's a good business?
Because I've been a customer of it. I like that, and I will couple with that. I remember I like just tourism businesses in general. So snowshoe tours is an example.
Is that big?
It doesn't have to be that big. So I remember a preamble in Iceland doing glacier walking. Like it was like $300 a person, and there you get to a parking lot, and there's just like shipping containers filled with those little ice shoes.
Yeah.
And then you like walk from the parking lot on the ice. There was just like thousands of people all day long paying $100 per person to put these ice picks on your feet and walk from the parking lot on a glacier. Like, or parasailing, paragliding in like Switzerland, snowshoeing, same deal. Like you need snow, like public lands, snowshoes. So all you have to do is get some snowshoes, $70, $80. Meet the person with your trunk with your 6 or 7 pairs of snowshoes. Maybe have some snacks if you want to like have an excellent experience. But like getting 12 people to pay you $80 each, or 20 people per hour all winter long in a place that already has tourists coming for like, when people are going to ski and snowboard, often their legs hurt. They want to do like snowmobiling and dog sledding and tubing, all these like ski adjacent family activities. A lot of people have a family member that doesn't want to ski, and that's why like massages do so good in these towns. So anything that's like adjacent to the main attraction. So in a ski town, snow free, snowshoes cheap. You can go on Airbnb Experiences, which dominates. If you're the only game in town, you have a few nice photos, a good listing, seed your first 5 or 10 reviews. You don't even need a website. You ever met that guy Aaron here in Austin that does boats and bats?
Oh yeah, with the big paddle boards?
Yeah. Dude, this guy is an empire. He has like 4,000 Airbnb experience reviews. I don't know if he has a website now. He didn't for years, but it's like a giant paddleboard. I think it's $50 a person. He puts like 6 people on a paddleboard. It's like he has like 10 paddleboards. I'm like, this guy's doing like $3,000 an hour. Doesn't own the river. Like the river's free, the bats are free.
Yeah.
Airbnb Experiences listing, and he's printing like $10,000 a day for like most of the year for people to come and share paddleboards.
What's a downside of a business like that, like the snowshoes type thing? It's like it's never going to be big,
Never gonna be big,
but it'll just like be something that can spit off cash. The other thing I worry about is like competition. A lot of these places you go to the ski resorts and they're owned by like Aspen Ski Company. There's like a couple big resorts in the United States. They limit the amount of ski rental places that could be there, because if there's too many, none of them make money. And they can't charge high prices.
I think you'd be off resort property by like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, if the resort got into the game, they would likely be triple the price, which is almost to your advantage, because then you're the cheap option.
You know, I didn't even think about it when I was factoring this in. The Airbnb Experiences thing.
It's amazing.
It doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, you don't have to be on the resort.
No, people will drive 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. I do it all the time. Surf lessons, all sorts of stuff. People bring surfboards to you, drive you up on the beach for your group, all that kind of stuff.
And Facebook ads, they used to be awesome when they would be like, let you only run ads to people who are traveling but didn't live there. I don't know if they don't have that targeting anymore, but that was epic. Also, a great way to do marketing for these businesses is partnering up with Airbnb hosts. So you have like a little tour experience guide. You give them like a 10% kickback. So, you know, people, you know, when you'd go to like the hotel and they have like all those pamphlets.
Yeah.
So that's like often like a company is like the pamphlet guy. They pay the hotel a little bit of money or kickbacks. There's different ways, but like using that same amount of leverage that Airbnb, a lot of Airbnbs don't recommend activities. So it's very easy to be the guy who even just is the Airbnb tourism guy who connects to you with the boats and the bats and everybody else off platform, and just middleman's Airbnb post expensive places. He has the attention and people who have a strong desire. Like I've stayed at Airbnbs where they're like, hey, winery tours, drivers, cooks, massage. Like I got you. And you're like, whoa, we spent like $2,000 extra through the Airbnb host. And like, they didn't do any of these services. So
yeah. We've done a lot with chefs. Yeah, chefs and massages.
Yeah.
Because you're like someone that already knows the house. I don't have to do anything.
Nothing.
I don't have to tell them stuff. Like they just show up and do the thing.
Yeah.
Great. They already know all the cookware, everything. Let's move on to this. This one's interesting because I've done a couple of these luxury picnics.
So what have you done?
Well, we've had like friends do it where like they'll announce their baby shower and it'd be this nice picnic in a park. And you're walking around, you're like, where are my friends? And then they drop a pin or whatever. And you see this like dope setup. And it's like those little those ottoman chairs and stuff like that, a little table, a whole spread with picnic, balloon arch, all that kind of stuff. And you're like, how the hell do they do this? And they're just like, some company just like comes and sets it up and takes it away.
It's amazing. So I put that into like the way that, you know, sell the like the picks and the axes, don't be the gold miner. And then like how many businesses built off the backs of Airbnb or whatever. I view this whole category, you know, one way you could build like a Hootsuite on the back of Instagram, or you could just sell people better Instagram pictures, like the Museum of Ice Cream. You know, people pay like $100 for a scoop of ice cream and a couple good Instagram pictures. So the glamping picnic thing, you get to charge a massive premium. Like when we did our Airbnb, my wife Rachel was always like, we need to make sure we have some Instagrammable moments. And that's like
smart.
So, you know, the egg chair with the view behind it, like make sure you have, or like an epic quote, like have a couple cool spots. I stayed in an Airbnb in Omaha a couple weeks ago where there was just like a turf wall with like this inspirational quote where like people take pictures in front of that wall. So if you can sell Instagrammable moments, you get to charge a huge surplus.
Ooh,
so
I like that.
Those luxury picnic situations, people are already willing to spend a certain amount of money on food. So the nice thing about the picnic is the venue budget goes to $0. So it's like they get to capture the value that the venue would normally have taken by bringing this nice picture picnic situation to the park. Or in British Columbia, they would have like the mountain backdrops. And then the picnic people would like partner up with like the helicopter guys if you want to do like mountaintop picnic. And wow, where they really got me is first we booked. And then after I committed, like paid the deposit, they're like accessories. The fancy hat, the extra blankets, the throne for the birthday girl. So they got us on like an extra like 4. And I didn't realize how long the list of potential accessories was going to be. So next thing you know, you're in like $600-700 in accessories for this thing. So yeah, I like picnics too, because you can go get all your charcuterie board meats, cheeses, and nuts at H-E-B or Whole Foods or whatever. So you don't need to grow the food. You don't have to cook the food even. You don't have to be in the food game. You don't have to make the stuff. You don't have to own the land or the park. So just by putting it all together, taking a few nice photos, you get to, it's kind of like the bamboo thing. You get to capture most of the value by being the coordinator, and the one who sells the thing to the consumer and packages it gets to make all the money.
That's awesome. Okay, so now downsides to this. So a lot of things, okay, I have
super annoying.
Two downsides. One, those are all going to be weekend stuff. Weekends are kind of shot. Maybe that's not a downside for some people. The other downside is I think maybe some last minute planning. People become a little bit bridezilla about their party. A lot of questions. Maybe that. Other thing I saw, and this is a major one. There's a park here in Austin. My friends wanted to do it, and they ended up finding someone, but they're not allowed to do that in certain parks. Certain parks ban these services. I think because they throw all their trash, or I don't know what they do, but they ban these services. So they finally found someone from another city to come and do it, and I don't think they knew the rules or cared, and so they ended up doing it anyway. But that could be a major problem. That like you can't like just go to Yosemite National Park and set up, right? Because it's like a protected zone. So you have to go to a place where like this is accepted, and that could change at any moment. I think. Yeah,
I think so too. We did ours at our backyard, so that's a way to mitigate that downside. It doesn't always have to be at the park. But a huge downside is the weather. If it's windy or it rains or it's cloudy, it's a shitty experience.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
So it could be too hot, too cold, like whatever it is.
And you probably have to take that hit, I assume. Like if it's like raining really hard, and then you don't set up, you can't like do the picnic, and your client has to move.
I'm pretty sure their deposit covers their ass pretty good.
Oh, really? Okay.
But at the same time, now you have like a disgruntled customer, and that was their actual birthday. Just like being dependent on the weather overall, I don't think it's a good idea. It's another one of those things that's like, this is like perfect entrepreneurial kindling for someone. Like for a seasoned entrepreneur, I'll put that bucket into a lot of these things. Like if you want to start something next weekend, do I have face painting on here? Because you could create a face painting empire.
Oh, interesting. Wait. One more thought off. So face painting.
Yeah. Don't forget
one more thought on the luxury picnics one.
Yeah.
When I was getting engaged, there was a lot of these that popped up. And so they don't do luxury picnics. What they do is luxury like proposal things. So you go to a park and there's a big heart and lights and it says their name and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of that, and all of those started at minimum 800 was the lowest I saw. And of course they have the accessories. It's like, you want nice lighting, you want whatever. And there's like someone that'll come up and show up.
How much do you really love her?
And I remember thinking about it. I was just like, okay, if you do this at a restaurant, you know, you got a lot of people around, you got to hire the photographer. It's a little bit like tricky with like tons of other people inside the restaurant. Plus you're going to buy maybe some Dom Perignon, all that stuff. You're going to spend $1,000. Why not do it in a park, especially if they want some private remote type thing? And they had all these different levels, and I saw it go up to like $10,000.
Wow.
For these proposal things. Yeah.
Wow.
Like a cool proposal where you're on a little paddle boat and in the middle of the river, there's a thing. Like there's like all sorts of crazy stuff they did. So I was like, okay, there might be some money in this.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I think it'd be seasonal. It could be seasonal, maybe.
I mean, depends where you live, but yeah.
Yeah.
And like anywhere that's cold, no one's doing winter picnic unless it's a Frozen themed kid's birthday party.
But I remember just thinking in terms of like a one person business, that is an option. That could be kind of cool. Another one with the luxury picnics, tangential to that, balloon setup, balloon arches. I had no idea until the last year how much these balloon arches cost. You go to like a birthday party or something, there's like a big arch with a balloon and it says their name in it. That thing costs like $1,000 minimum. So someone comes, sets up this like $5 little nylon thing, and then blows up a bunch of balloons.
Get the luxury picnics, man. Just be the balloon arch.
It's crazy. And then we recently hired a person. It was like it got down to like 800, and that was like the absolute lowest quote to make a balloon arch. And it really does zhuzh up the place.
It does.
And like you said, Instagrammable moments. Yeah. You know where every picture post on Instagram was? Right by that balloon arch.
Yes.
Because it looked awesome. Yeah. Because it takes a place that's kind of meh, whatever, and then it makes it awesome. Yeah. So yeah, cool thing. All right, face painting. Why do you think that's good?
Dude, so in my neighborhood, there's that little lake park thing, and we host these little, kind of like a farmer's market situation. And I remember last summer, someone runs up to Rachel like, hey, can you do some face painting? She's like, I've never painted face before, but like, it's like every other booth, you know, beer or corn or fruit or meat or like some games, face painting lined up down the block. So Rachel's like, yeah, like, sure, I could help. So 10 minutes later, she's painting tigers and all kinds of stuff. And in addition to face painting, also gems. Like face gems, you get them off Alibaba for like 25 cents. So then you don't even have the time, the labor. But each kid who's walking around is your walking billboards. So when you see that little kid with a tiger, and now you have a screaming baby that wants face painting, you say, hell yes. Now you're in line. You get to the front, and then it's like, do you want the 15, the 20, or the $25 one? So like, it's like $20. Let's just say $20 on average to get your kid's face painted. It's an average of like 1 minute to paint the face. And it's like a few highs. Rachel, who's not an artist or much of a face painter, instantly was like well equipped to do like tiger stripes, like the few moves very easily. And then it's like, do you want full face or half face? So they had like a couple, it's an extra $10 for the gems. So $20, $30 a face, call it 2 minutes per face, like at most. Kids lined up down the block. Anything that gets screaming kids to beg their parents for something is a great business. And it's awesome because you can go do that at like, you know, you could just go to the park and set up beside the glamping station, and like no one really has a problem with like the face painting people. So like you can make it like a value added service. You're not selling a product. So you could like just be an add-on to the farmer's market. They won't even really charge you. And like when I did the math, I'm like, Rach, like, she's like, we made like $4,000 or $5,000 in like a couple hours of face painting. So what's good? Unskilled labor, really high prices, rabid fan base. I was blown away by this. And I remember hearing about Hormozy scaling like a high-end, we take pictures of your baby at your house service. Like someone had like 3 locations and he's helped them go to like 400. Because this is like a thing. You want to do that. Like no one makes it easy for you. We'll just come do a baby shoot for you at your house for $500 for half an hour. But the face painting is kind of like the scale easy. It's so easy to scale. And yeah, you're going to have rabid fans. So face painting was also awesome. You need paint. You need a couple high school girls. You need a tent. And you're in business.
Okay, so downside, Neville the Devil's Advocate over here. That's
a good name. I like that.
Neville the Devil's Advocate. Yeah. I actually thought about it like 20 seconds before and then brought it out like I didn't know what it was going.
It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, okay, downside. You have to have an event. like a carnival or something where face painting is like a thing.
Yep.
So I assume you're gonna go on like the the fair route or farmers market route kind of thing is probably where you do it.
Yeah.
Carnivals,
finding your way into kids' birthday parties. Don't know how you do that.
So it's like limited in terms of scope, and
Very.
it's going to be kind of like a hit or miss type of thing. But it does sound like one of those things that where like someone trustworthy looking, like you said, like a high school girl or something like that, could actually make a couple grand in a night.
In like 3 hours in the afternoon, and then run to the next one.
Yeah.
Like make like $5,000 in a day, pay your friend $50. And like, if you actually made it like a little bit nicer, like these were like unbranded tents. Like you don't have to do anything. None of the branding, none of the marketing. Everybody gets it what face painting is, because as soon as you've done one kid, like that one kid is going to bring you 4 customers. Like you could literally paint the first 10 kids' faces for free, because it's the painted faces that bring in the business, not the face painting booth itself.
Yeah.
You yourself paint your face. So there's not that, the scope, the scale, the seasonality, the having to build relationships and partnerships. I don't see there being too much liability. Get some low tox and non-tox paint.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? Here's one I'll throw in the mix.
Yeah.
Wallpaper installation. This okay. And here's the thing. You think there'd be a lot of wallpaper installers. It is harder than you think to put up wallpaper, but it is not physically demanding. And it is the first thing I've seen. It's like home service I found with when I bought my house, that I found there's more women involved than men. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. One, I don't think there's like a lot of physical labor involved.
Right.
But two, here, think about this. If you're getting wallpaper installed, where is it? It's not outside. It's in your house. It's in your kid's room. It's in your bathroom, in your master bedroom. And so I think people just trust women more. just in general. I think.
I think so.
I think just in general, like they're more comfortable with it. I don't know why. It just is. And so I was actually quite surprised that it was more female dominated. And I think you just don't want this random dude in your house for 3 days straight. That's the only thing I could think of.
Except for like consulting services, like interior design. But you mean like the labor part? Like the painter's usually a guy. The wallpaper girl is usually a girl.
The painter's usually a guy. He's like up on a thing. I think the wallpaper is not like physically demanding, and I don't think it's not dangerous, right? Maybe a ladder is involved or something like that. But I will say I saw a lot more women that were popular for wallpaper services than men.
Did they provide the wallpaper or just the install?
It was mainly the install, and I think some of them would kind of be like, "Oh, I think this would be cool," but that was more like an interior.
So that's
designer.
like, to me, another like that's where like that gap. Like
ideally,
if you also have the eye for it, we come to your house, we look at the wall, the paint you already have, the prep, the cleanup, suggesting, just like the flooring and the carpet guy. Like here is 4. People don't even like too many choice. Like based on the room and the palette, like here's our trendiest 3 wallpapers. Because then they make the money on the wallpaper, which is a huge place for the margin. Is selling the wallpaper itself is gonna probably like double their take home. And then it's just like a turnkey, and it's a nice service. Like what's annoying is you got to get like your wallpaper here, then check with your wallpaper installer. Like, is this texture okay? Does it go on my latex paint? And like, how do we make sure what we painted my kid's room green, and then like 10 minutes later, my kid like peeled off all of the paint from their door because like the painter put like oil on water or latex, whatever. Like it didn't like adhere, and like it was just like a piece of plastic peeling off.
Well, I like home projects, and so I had an interior designer. They're like, we need to put this wallpaper up. I was like, cinch, I can do this. I'm handy enough, dude. I did it. 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. It was literally seconds later. It all fell down. Right. Yeah. And I watched on YouTube, and it's like, you got to prime it, you got to sand it, you got to do all this other crap. I was like, fuck that. Let's get some glue.
Cool stuff with wallpaper too.
Well, there's also peel and stick wallpaper now that is really good. My guest room has it, and it looks awesome, and it stayed up. But you do have to know how to install it properly, and there's a lot of precision involved.
Yes,
I think that's what people don't like. Like I love doing projects, but when like ultra precision involved, like from the top, like 12 feet of ceiling all the way down, it has to be 100% level. And so the wallpaper installers had like these lasers and stuff. And this is why I started realizing why it cost me so much more than I expected to get wallpaper installed. Here's another thing. You have to put this glue and stuff down and prime the walls, and it has to be like 85 degrees in your house. Really? So they were like, you got to like crank your AC or your heat up, and this was like in summer too. It's got to be hot as hell in this house. Otherwise it gets too cold too quick or whatever. And they were in this hot room, sweating, and I almost felt bad. I'm like, damn, how do they? I guess they're just used to it. but they're in this room, kind of like glue smell and stuff going on too. So I realized why it was harder than I expected and why it cost me probably 5 times more than I expected to get wallpaper done. It was actually a very expensive project compared to other projects I did. I got a deck built and I was like, yeah, it was about in line what I thought it would be.
Same price as the wallpaper.
I mean, honestly, if you did a couple rooms of wallpaper, it would cost as much as a deck.
Wow.
It was
Drapes are like that too.
and that's interesting. Talk about drape. Well, I'll finish off the wallpaper thought. Downside, a lot of precision. I think it is tedious work.
You're in that hot box, that glue hot box.
You might have to be in the glue hot box for a while, and it might just be a little bit boring or something like that.
Agreed.
But I think if you get one person's house and I think what happens is a lot of people, they'll say, well, I'm already getting this wallpaper done. I might as well get this other room done with wallpaper. But one thing I did notice, none of them tell you what wallpaper. So like to your point, if you're that person that just goes the slightly extra step of like, yeah, this room would probably look good with a blah, blah, blah wallpaper. I mean, just that extra consultation would probably get you.
Our lady did something awesome in my kid's bedroom. She's like, ooh, I have an idea where we could like carry it over that wall. And like, so it was like one wall and then like, it was like an oceany wavy kind of texture. So then it carried into the next wall like a wave.
Oh, like
so
a decal kind of stuff?
Kind of, yeah, like the full wall and then like a partial for the next wall. It was a good touch. So yeah, I think turnkey is the way to go. And if you were the one who just sold it and just recommended it, there's probably a lot of people who are not bad at the precision part, like getting like good installers for $20 an hour. And you get all the leverage as the business if you can full-time people.
You know who I paid the most hourly for? Wall picture hanger guy. I moved into a condo years ago, and that's another thing I hate doing because I don't know how high to put the things. Like I could do it. That part's easy. I just don't know what to do, like where to put it. And so there's a guy, he's like, and sure enough, he was like a 25-year-old kid. He knew exactly where to place him. I'm like, what height? He's like, I'll take care of it. I was like, thank God. Just do it. I don't care.
So you were really paying him
No. I was like, I literally don't care. Because everyone was just like, yeah, you have to tell us where to put it. And like this guy was like, yeah, I know where to put him. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Do it. Go to town. I know what room it is. You tell me where to put it.
TV mounting's the same.
Yeah. Why? They just like how high and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's the same issue. You're like too high, too low. What's up? Those guys are like $150 TV. If I search TV mount in my phone, I have TV mount Mike, TV mount Tom. Like every city I've lived in, I have a new TV mount guy. But like they come and then it's like $150 a TV. So they install like 3 TVs in an hour, $450. All they need is Nextdoor and Facebook ads, no website, no nothing. You know exactly what you're getting. And then they come and half the time like, your mount's not very good. Like, let me sell you one of my mounts. So they get you on the mount too.
Amazon does it too. They work with third-party contractors. If you buy a TV on Amazon, it'll ask you if you want it mounted. And you say yes, and 2 guys will show up at your house and mount.
2 guys?
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
I actually had 2 deaf guys come. Huh. Yeah. Wait, I talked to them through my phone.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were that's all they do. TV hanging. They said they do a couple a day.
Huh. I like
that.
Just
TV hanging thing through Amazon too. Which is interesting. They just contract like a third
They're
party.
good at making stuff easy for consumers.
Exactly. And like they're obviously they're not Amazon employees, but they're just like a third party contractor who's vetted.
And those 2 guys probably work for some company that has like 1,000 contractors, probably a middleman piece.
I guess I never even thought about it like that.
That they are the TV mounting marketplace, and they sit between like Amazon and Home Depot and an army of guys they found off Craigslist. Yeah, and that's true for everything. If you can get the customer on Google, but hire the labor off Craigslist, that's kind of like the winning formula for all this stuff. Because the Google, if the high-end customer Google stuff, the cheap customers get service providers off Craigslist. Like any home service you want, Google guy is twice the price of the Craigslist guy. So if you could just advertise on Google and get your subs on Craigslist, there's a big margin for any service.
Interesting.
Sauna Rental is awesome. So I've been on the consumer side of this a number of times. So a fairly normal price is like $500 for a weekend, sometimes like $1,500 for a week. Because if you're like renting an Airbnb that doesn't have a sauna, like the value add of a sauna, especially if there's like 5-6 people.
Oh, for Airbnbs. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
I was like, sauna.
Yeah, that's when you would normally want to get it.
Oh.
So like you're already going to, Whistler, or you're going to a nice Airbnb and your friends are going to be staying with you, not really seasonal at all. And then now you can actually layer on like a cold plunge. So I've done both. Typically the sauna rental guys that I've always use wood burning saunas. Always use wood burning saunas, which we could think of a bunch of cons for that one for sure. Neville the Devil.
Neville the Devil can come up with a lot of cons for having someone put wood and then enclosing themselves in a box.
Well, and then
in
also
close adjacency to that
and
wood.
then leaving for the week where you can make your own fires.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's pretty smooth. And like the good guys, they come with a box. Like they give you your kindling box, they give you your wood, they give you a bunch of fire starters. That's a key to like make the starting of the sauna way easier. Also, the ones that you load from the outside, not the inside. But basically, they just come with a trailer. You put a barrel sauna on a trailer. They drop it off. You can get a pretty good barrel sauna for like $6 or $7 grand. And when it rents for $1,500 a week or $500 a weekend, this thing pays itself back in like 2 months.
Yeah, Costco sells a really good one for $5,500, a barrel sauna, 6 person.
So yeah, you put on a trailer. Now you're at 8.
You do have to have a downside, 220-volt outlet sometimes for the larger saunas.
For the electric ones.
No, for anything like 3 people and above.
So that's why they do wood burning, because the power is going to be a big issue so they do wood burning for that. And then now I've seen a few of them even add on like the ice barrel and bring you like blocks of ice and a great cooler.
Yeah.
Because the ice stays cold for like 3 days. And like for $1,000 for a weekend, like it's a lot, but like the perks of a sauna and a cold plunge at your Airbnb with like your family or group of friends is quite high.
So get this, I go to a gym called Squatch, and outside they have a sauna inside, but they also always have an outside sauna that's on a trailer. There's a company here in Austin that makes these saunas that go on a trailer. Like you just hitch it to your truck.
That's the kind I've always had.
Yeah. And so you literally just like unhitch it at someone's place.
Yeah.
And it's even got like
Levels?
a lobby in it. Like I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know about a lobby, but like a 1 or 2 person lobby where you just like put your
Change
towels
room?
and stuff. Yeah. you could change in there, and then you open up the thing and it's like a real sauna. Like a real traditional sauna going on in there.
And that's electric.
No, yes, it's electric, but it's like the traditional.
Also,
sauna.
what crushes with the wood burning one, a friend of mine in Canada does it. He just brings his wood burning sauna near the lake. And because it's an enclosed fire, there's not really a problem. Once it gets hot, it burns you wouldn't even hardly know that there's like a fire in there. It's like a very clean smoke. And everyone's just like, what? Like, I think you could actually just charge people, like the sauna businesses, like $50 to take a sauna. I don't even think you need to just do sauna rental. Like if you can just find like a lake or a body of water that's pretty and there's people hanging out on the beach. Yeah, sauna rental. I just like the payback cycle.
Well, here's the other thing. It's like catching a wave. And I bought a sauna 2 weeks ago, and I'm still waiting for it to come. And I asked the guy, and I was talking to him he was the guy that owned the place. It was called like Texas Hot Tub Company or something like that. And he said they've been seeing 100% year-over-year increase in saunas for like 4 years straight. And I was like, what about cold tubs? He was like, look right over there, buddy. And they're a hot tub company, but now they're carrying the cold tubs because there's so many people. They get the sauna, now they want the cold tub, right? Because they want that contrast thing. Huberman, all these doctors and stuff online are talking about how good sauna and cold and stuff.
Well, I was at this wellness event in New York last week, and I realized from like an investing standpoint, I'm very bullish on things where you know how they work and you feel the experience immediately. So whether that's a cold plunge, a sauna, or a chocolate bar, like I know what this does and I know if I like it or not right now.
Yeah.
Whereas like red light therapy, I'll use as an example. You're like, it's supposed to work. The science is good.
Dude, I looked up, can I write this sauna off on my taxes? Apparently, if you have a back condition, you can. I didn't know that. I don't have a back condition, but I was like, that's kind of cool because these things
you can also use HSA, FSA funds on
you can. If you have medical problems, the sauna is an actual therapy that will help them. And the way I justified it, because I thought a sauna cost like $4 grand or something like that. That was not the case. I wanted to be able to lay down in it, and then I want the worldwide app that connects to it, and the heater that's like electronically controlled, so I can blah blah blah. I wanted all the stuff. I wanted the Bluetooth thing. I wanted the red light therapy in there. So it ended up costing over 10 grand plus about 1,600 in installation. And then one thing I noticed was whenever you're buying this sauna, they actually don't necessarily want to sell you just a pre-made sauna. They don't make a lot of money.
They want the custom one.
They want the custom one. And the guy was telling me, he's like, look, well, I mean, like we sell these, but the real money is in the custom. They start at 25 grand. And so whenever you're building your home, you want a sauna, you want to make a thing. And then what happens is they're just like, well, I don't want like a one-person sauna. I want to be able to like, have a couple friends over or something like that. Then they do that. Then they add on the red light. So if you're building a house,
you can, now that rolls into your mortgage.
Yes.
So now
exactly.
25 up front, it's an extra $80 a month.
But also what I noticed for myself was I thought, okay, let's say I'm going to spend 13 grand on a surgery that will lower my chance of cardiovascular disease. That's going to make my back feel 25% better. That's going to blah, 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 make my workouts better. Would I get this surgery for that much money? I'd be like, hell yeah, that'd be a great surgery, right? Turns out that's a sauna. It's just not a surgery. So that's how I started justifying it. So what I thought was cool about saunas, cold plunge, it's now not like this like kind of cool thing to have for relaxing.
It's not a spa
It's a medical
relaxing
device.
thing anymore. Yeah.
It's a medical device. There's even a company called Medical Saunas. And it's kind of funny because they're just a sauna company. They call themselves medical saunas. So then people are like, oh, I can write this off a little bit easier.
Yeah. I can relate.
Downsides?
But that's in the that's in the like the original like suffering has a business, like this sucks so good, like exercise, like running, like you run, it sucks, and then at the end you're like, oh, I feel so good. Like exercise kind of sucks while you're doing it, feels good in the end. Sauna, it's hard when you're in there, feels good at the end. And then there's cold plunge. Like I'm wondering what the next trend will be of the paying for sub.
Oh, I go to a gym and they have this whole section with like every of those like, you know, wacky therapies that like some of them are like just probably total bullshit, but then later we'll feel some of them are good. They have all of them. I think one of the ones that's going to come up is this electric shock thing. You sit on this like bed and it electrocutes every part of you, and it goes and you can turn the volume up on it, and it can really hurt. I personally hate it.
Okay.
It scares the hell out of me. I'm just like, I just don't intuitively trust this thing. You can't use your phone. Like it fucks up your phone.
Well, that's a big problem.
Yeah. You use your phone wallet and your phone has like all these weird black lines. You can't
What's it doing to you?
You can't use your AirPods because it makes the speakers inside the internal like crack and go inside your earpods. And so you can't use them. You just have to sit there. So like things like that, I think.
Anything that gets someone off their phone, I'm skeptical of as a business.
Why?
Just because people like their phones a lot. Unless it's like a comedy show and they take it at the door and you're hanging out with your friends having drinks. Other than that, like isolate, social, no phone, good.
Yeah.
Isolation, sitting in a bed, no phone, I don't think people are going to.
Oh, another one I've seen, and I saw Dana White, you know, the founder of UFC, I think he does it every day, is the oxygen therapy. It's basically a stationary bike that has nothing to do with it. It just gets you huffing and puffing. But the real thing is they have this bag. Imagine the back of this is like a bag. It's like a big ass bag, and they basically fill it with pure oxygen, and then you get on the bike and attach this thing to your nose, and you breathe in this pure oxygen over the course of 15 minutes, and apparently it's good.
So someone will pay like $100,000 for that, but not get their $9.99 air purifier. like it's so funny how people will pay for these like extreme contraptions that they do.
Oh, the other thing I'm seeing taking off, and people are opening up centers, red light therapy.
Oh yeah,
that's taking off. I remember thinking like that was one of those things I was like, that sounds hokey as hell. And now they're like, they got red light hats for your hair,
forest bathing,
face. I know people that say for their face it's really good, and then you get naked and stand in front of a bunch of red lights. It supposedly makes your skin better.
So that's the supposedly category. I'm not long term on the supposedly category.
You want like real. So is sauna
has a business, has an investor? No, sauna. You go in, you feel hot, you get out, you feel awesome, you feel relaxed. I did the red light thing for a while. I'm like, all I had was like, they say it works. The studies say it works. Like, it's hard for me to stick with that thing.
Yeah.
Long term is all. I can't do it with my friends. It's like really bright. Like my eyes turn purple if I look at it.
Yeah.
So like I get the trend right now, but I'm putting it in the trend category because it doesn't make me feel awesome. Whereas the sauna and the cold plunge, I get the feeling right after. That's what I was trying to say before. Like with the chocolates or with whatever, like the thing that gives you the immediate feeling right after. At that wellness event, the red light therapy guys were right beside the Opus sound beds. So people would like go to the sound bed and be like, how was like the red light there? Be like, apparently it works. I think Dana White does it, so it must be great. Then they go to the sound bed. They're like getting a bass under them and like there's music in your head. You get it, like that was awesome. Like, you know what just happened and you feel the thing.
Interesting.
So I think the things that you don't feel, I'm not bullish on these things.
Great heuristic for like judging something. It's like coffee. Coffee works.
We know this works.
You know it works. Okay, great.
Matcha, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, coffee does the job.
They say it's like
good.
Smooth caffeine.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Here's home nursing. This seems interesting. What's the home nursing idea?
Yeah, I think this definitely goes into that overall category of like aging in place, I would say. I think just like medical at home in general is obviously going to take off. Whether it's like how long until the self-driving car has like an x-ray machine and like you want to get an x-ray done, Uber self-driving car thing drives up to your house, you like put your hand in it, AI/remote doctors like, yep, your thing's broken. Mm-hmm. So then home nursing, like I've tried services like that here. Like it's growing in this faster markets, but like the blood test at home or the elderly care stuff at home, just like the going to the hospital to get the nursing services and just generally like private nursing and nurses looking to get out of this like public 12-hour night shift world and into the private sector.
Yes.
Overall, I think
I've
will
known
emerge.
I've known several who've become like kind of like nurses for hire.
Yeah.
And they do the things like the superficial things like the IVs after you're drinking.
That kind of stuff.
They could do that kind of stuff, but they charge a higher price because
Way
they
higher.
go to your house. And I think you have like a person that you like. You're just like, this nurse, she really knows what she's doing. And so you keep calling that person back and wealthy clients will keep calling her back.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I like that. I like the term medical at home and aging at home. That
Aging in place.
Aging in place.
Yeah, it's like you could go to this retirement facility for, dude, when my grandparents in their last few years, it was 25 grand for like a crappy 600 square foot apartment.
Mm-hmm.
That was, in reality, the marketing was great. In reality, there was like 2 nurses for like 700 people.
Mm-hmm.
It was a total scam.
Well, also, there's a new trend, and I've seen this a couple of times on the outskirts of Houston. This place called Sugarland, is they'll have these old folks communities where it's like you have homes, and they're not giant palatial homes. Most older folks don't want the 7,000 square foot home.
Yeah.
They want a 2,500 3-bedroom. They can have some family over, but only people 55 and over can live there.
Great clubhouse, golf.
And if you got younger people, they can't stay there for more than like a week or something like that. And and they got all the stuff. They have like medical facilities nearby. A lot of the golf cart action going on.
Oh, that's the best.
Golf carting around. They got all the stuff that an old folk person would love to just have like right there.
I see the appeal.
Yeah,
University for old people.
And these people generally have been working their whole lives, have some nice little retirement cash going on. They're downsized into a nice community. They get good community effort. So like everyone around you is like from your era, which is pretty sick.
What's Neville the Devil got to say about that one?
The downside, I guess, would be you kind of have to be a developer, I would assume. But I would assume that like if you hover around those communities, there's a lot of other tangential things you can offer, like the stay-at-home nurse, the consultations at home, installing saunas, installing all that kind of stuff. That could be really cool in those areas. And then like you see your neighbor, hey, yeah, he has a sauna. I want to get a sauna
Just
too.
elevator maintenance for in-home elevators. Like the amount of baby boomers who are getting elevators now is out of control.
That is,
and
very
you will
true.
find most of them are going to focus on the new sales, not the annual maintenance and the inspection. So much better to be in the maintenance and service side of all of these businesses than on the install.
Interesting. Yeah. Downsides. I don't know if I see a lot other than it's hard. If you're gonna be the developer of a community, it's different. But if you're already a developer, why not make one of these communities?
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Cool. Any other ones here? What about e-bike tours or backyard office pods? Let's wrap it up here. We talked about a lot of these.
I like teaching homeschool. Let's do that one.
Okay. Teaching homeschool, but
Yeah.
don't people don't like the moms and dads just do that?
No. So here's the thing. And like we're living in Texas, there's like 1 million kids almost in Texas that are in homeschool right now.
Uh-huh.
So growing up, homeschool is like this wacky weirdo thing, wasn't social at all, or you're like in the public school system. So the amount of people now who are like trying to find they want their kid to be outside more. And I'm exactly this person. Like my kid goes to a private school that's like not crazy. It's like $1,500 a month. They play outside half the time. There's like similar like-minded families. But the amount of people who are like, they want to homeschool their kid. They want more control over their kid's education. They don't want to ship off their 4-year-old 9 to 5 or like 8 to 4 for the next 18 years. They want to be around their kid, spend time with their kid. But they also don't want to be like the teacher.
Yeah.
So there's these different things emerging where like, imagine 6 families in a neighborhood that would normally be paying like $100,000+ a year. They could easily just co-hire a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a bit of that, but I think like take a tutor to the next level. So instead of like going over and teaching little Tommy math for an hour by himself twice a week, going over and teaching a math class for 6 or 10, like the homeschool kids come together and they get their math lesson at home. Like mad science birthday parties, like those were cheap actually. We did that this year. It's like the science girl comes over for $300 and teaches like a science half day situation, but go on the backs of like homeschooling because they want like there's gyms now that have like soccer for the home, like gym for homeschooling kids. Like a lot of these businesses have like their Wednesday at 2:00 where all the homeschooling people come together and like have gym class together. So if there was like math or science or history or Spanish, but like you could do it at your house, you could go to a person's home, but basically like tutoring a little more scaled out has a service for people in homeschool. Like I would love to pay for that.
Dude.
A la carte, get a few kids together.
That's sick. We got to do a whole other podcast just to like cover all these other ideas. This is great. Oh, by the way, I want to share one last heuristic before we go over here. I'm gonna put a chart up on the screen. It's this pyramid. It was shared by Nivi, and I believe Steve Blank was the originator of this. It's like basically like how to find an idea, like a business idea. And it's a pyramid, and it starts from the bottom is the biggest. And the number one thing is someone has a problem. There is a problem that currently exists for a customer. And then the next step of the pyramid is the customer is aware of the problem. They know that they have this problem. The next step of the pyramid is they are actively looking for a solution because their solution is bad. The next step is they've already made a solution, but it's kludgy. It's like they made an Airtable or a Google Doc that like has their process, but it's like, you know, one person knows how to use it and it's using some weird macros that stopped working a year ago. It's just not a good solution. And then right at the top is has a budget. So if you meet those 5 criteria, it usually means you could be in business really quick. And and he was just like, this isn't the only way to look for an idea. Obviously, there's many exceptions against this. But he said for YC companies, generally, if they meet this little pyramid of like has a problem, aware of the problem, actively looking for a solution, already assembled a solution out of parts and has a budget, you're pretty much in business right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Mike, where can people find you?
I just started doing some Instagramming.
Oh,
I just started doing some
Is that based off of our
Instagramming.
first pod?
Maybe.
Hell yeah.
Maybe you inspired me a little bit.
Nice.
Well, this
I was hoping for a
a lot.
Neville created me.
Neville the Devil has got me on social media more than I should be.
Where can they find you?
Mike.Feldstein.
Nice.
And I actually do most of my posting at JasperCo, JASPRCO. But yeah, we'll go with Mike.Feldstein
Sweet.
on the gram.
Yeah, and you can find me on Instagram. Type my Neville Medora. There's only one other guy. He's in India that has that name. So you'll find me there. Copywritingcourse.com or yeah, with C's. Actually, you can go to copywritingcourse.com with K's and it'll still forward you. Or copywriting.
That's where I go. I refuse to type that in.
Yeah. and then also on YouTube, type in copywriting with a K and you'll find me. You'll find this and subscribe. It's a pretty good channel and it's all free. So see y'all later. Take care. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bam.